The US has imposed an exorbitant annual fee on the H-1 visa sponsorships, prompting the Indian Ministry of External Affairs today to warn of potential humanitarian consequences for affected families and to also study the broader implications of this action. Now, Indian IT firms, which employ a large share of these visa holders, face significant margin pressures now, operational disruptions, while professionals may confront relocation, career uncertainties, and also financial strain. But this move also raises broader concerns about US-India talent mobility, bilateral relations between the two countries, and how really resilient is India's tech ecosystem. Now, the big question is also whether India and its tech industry can pivot quickly to mitigate the fallout of this. It's easy to say that such disruptions can also be an opportunity, but what about the loss of opportunities and what really is the way forward? That's what we discuss in the course of the next few minutes. We also have Sudhanshu Kaushik, Executive Director, North American Association of Indian Students. We have Varun Singh, who is an MP of an investment migration company. He's a certified investment migration consultant as well. We also have Venk Krishnan, Managing Partner of New Ventures and the CEO of Newware. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Venk Krishnan, to you first. You have a personal story to tell us. You went to the US as a student on the same visa that we're talking about. You built a company. You're in India now. Tell us, how do you look at the announcement that has been made today? How should Indians aspiring to go to the US look at this? What is your advice?
No, I think this is upending the complete current immigration system in the US, right? I think I would stick my head out and say, if you look at all the CEOs of the global companies like Microsoft or Google, all of them went through the H-1B program, right? You go there, you do your master's, then you get an H-1 visa and you work, right? So H-1 visas are the cornerstone of the whole IT outsourcing to a large extent, right? So I think this is I would say it's a watershed moment. I hope, better sense will prevail and, US will, maybe change some others, because if you charge $100,000 for one visa, right? That is the salaries which an H-1 immigrant on an average gets paid, right? And this is per year. The details are still to be worked to known, but I find this will absolutely impact Indian IT to some extent. There are some companies, even Indian companies, which have 40% H1 visa holders, right? And I heard that some of them are telling their people not to leave the country, not to leave the US in particular. And there is a big, wave of people trying to go back to US by the 21st, right? So within the next 2-3 days, you will see all the airports packed with people, hopefully not, to get back before the 12 a.m. deadline of Monday.
All our families have those people going in, so clearly it's going to be a situation that is quite concerning. Sudhanshu Kaushik, a lot of people are saying that this can potentially endanger the big American dream that a lot of us have had. But there are also people who are being optimistic here, saying that this is just a phase and this will pass. How are students feeling about this?
I mean, what's a phase that's going to pass? We have 3 more years of this administration that is trying to depopulate, ban, and get rid of people on its quote unquote way to economic prosperity. That's just not economic theory. That's honestly, it's catering to a very small but vocal minority on Twitter, these immigration restrictionists who believe that the source of their economic woes are sourced from Indians on H-1Bs or Indians trying to be there. And I say Indians specifically when this conversation comes up, because 70% of H-1B holders in 2023 were actually Indian citizens. So when we talk about this being an H-1B visa issue, it proportionally impacts Indians by far the most. And what I've been seeing, whether it's students, because this is not just H-1B, it's directly related to F1. Of course, it's ruining the American dream, but I just also don't understand the rationale behind it. I mean, Indians here in the United States, we've contributed hundreds of billions of dollars every single year in taxes. We contribute tens of billions of dollars in just fees. And then almost trillions with a T, we contribute to basically the economic output due to the sheer capacity that we're here. we're the least incarcerated. We're one of the most peaceful communities. And you have demonized us, and you've basically catered to us and discriminated against us. That's not so-called the American dream, and I'm unsure what people do from now.
Right.
And then this is just the H-1B, the catalytic effect on higher education as well, which contributes, Indian students contribute over $200 billion to. Are you going to contribute $50,000 to $70,000 in tuition per year, knowing that you're basically not allowed to get, a job afterwards? So I think it's really breaking apart this really good process in terms of, I completely understand, and maybe Varun can talk more about it, but H-1B needed reform. That's clear. In the 1990s, this process was started by the U.S. Congress.
But it probably needed a phased reform, right? So I'll just come back to you. Okay. Venk Krishnan, what is it that India lacks right now which needs to be fixed? Because when I talk to startup owners, they tell me that, Indian startups are not even allowed to scale. There is a certain sense of inadequate research. That's why we're not really there in that generative AI race. What are the things that India needs to fix so that we see this not as a crisis?
See, as of now, the policy-driven, the policy has to be in the favor of...
Yeah, Mr. Venk Krishnan. Sir, I'll just come back to you, Mr. Singh. Venk Krishnan, can you take that question?
Yeah, see, I think this is surely going to impact the startup ecosystem. I'm part of the system, startup ecosystem, and many Indian SaaS AI companies, right, in particular, they look at the US as the market, right? And I know many founders are relocating to the Silicon Valley or the Silicon Alley, as they call the New York, right, to set up their days there. And they will have to apply for H-1B visas to, set up their shop, get the critical people, right? Hiring, Americans is another option, but it's people who would like to work with somebody whom they know. So I think this is going to impact the startup ecosystem in particular, as well as the general employment. But I think that being said, I think, we will have to get prepared, like Varun said. There has to be because in a way, I feel US will get impacted because, if they have to compete against China in the AI race, right, they need the people. They need Indians to a large extent, right? And especially in emerging technologies. And we have the largest number of educated professionals, right? So I think over a period, better sense will prevail. But I think we are all reacting to something which happened in the last 1 or 2 days. But I think, I may also stick my head and say that somebody may put in they can go through a legal course, right, to stop this. And because it is an executive order, not a law as passed by the Congress, I think this would be litigated.
That is true.